Hello, welcome to the Star Card Tarot. This is Karen coming in with some tarot today. I was inspired because we are in Gemini season, inspired by the tarot card that is associated with Gemini, and it's the Lover's card. Looks like this. Let's see here. Looks like this. Usually there's the angel and the two figures. Kind of looks like the Garden of Eden kind of a backdrop, or, But what I was learning about this card was I knew that it had the number 6 associated with it, but that's to do with tarot. But in numerology, not to do with tarot numerology or how that's assigned, the number 6 apparently is the only number that has masculine and feminine qualities to it, which is really cool because, in this card, it's very similar to the Chariot and the Strength card, where there's a balancing or a reconciling of dualities and polarities. And so I thought that was really, really, really interesting. So, again, because I was inspired to do a reading for this Gemini season and see if the planet Mercury has any, good messages, I'm going to break it down into doing cardinal, fixed, and mutable readings. I'm going to choose a card for the theme that you're dealing with, what brought you to that, this point. What you need to let go of and what you would gain by letting go of, that kind of advice. And for a couple days, I've been getting that song Heroes, original by David Bowie. I like the Depeche Mode version. I've been just repeat. Yeah, so I hope your Gemini season, I hope you're really delighted with it. It's, it's a different vibration. It's quite fast paced, which is kind of cool because, after Gemini season, we get into Cancer season, which is going to be more emotional, more watery, more dense, because, again, water is more dense than air, right? So I'll play this song while I'm getting these cards ready, and we'll see what messages come out. Or not. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I always have trouble with my reception. So this will be for Cardinal. so we'll get into it. So for the cardinal signs, what your theme is right now, Ace of Swords. There's a real clarity in your mind. You've never been more clear in your mind. There's not, it's kind of like the clearing away of anything excess, any mind chatter, anything that doesn't sit right. And just being king of the mind, really having authority over your mind. So that's really good. What brought you here to this theme in your life right now is the Six of Cups. Oh, here we get that number 6 again. So that's a lot about your emotions and diving deep into your past. So perhaps you had to do a lot of reminiscing or looking back, not being stuck there, but using the themes, to bring you forward, to remember who you are. You are this, that is you. You are an inner child in your grown adult body. And I believe this because I feel like when we come into the world, we are in connection with Source and have that alignment. We're spiritual, and then we get it taught out of us. When we go through our spiritual awakenings again, it's like we're picking up from where we were, and that's how I get the sense that, for the inner child. So I feel like because you're honoring yourself, you're honoring, every part of you, especially, your real authentic you, it's brought you to a point of clarity, that you're no longer, mindlessly going through the motions of life, living according to this body, the paradigms, the ideas, the things that this body and mind has acquired. But, just almost like back to the basics and getting to your roots, so to say. So what would be good advice right now in this Gemini season to let go of? Oh, look, we have the Lover's card. I was just speaking about this. This is the card. Wow. I was looking at this in parallel with this one. So now I know this, this is a major arcana. This is a minor arcana. And this was the advice to let, what you need to let go of. So I'm getting the sense that what would be good for you to let go of is, this idealized way that your life has to be, and, to focus in on your own desires, your own paradise, your own bliss, so to say. With the Lover's card, it's often, there's a divine path carved out for us if we just, allow it, if we notice and recognize it. So what I feel like the advice is, rather than looking for, if this is to do with romantic love, rather than searching externally for your counterpart, to always remember, that you are a whole person. We all have the dualities of masculine and feminine within us, right? We're already whole. And to not worry about things being so complicated, just, be easy and light, flowing, effortless. Children just naturally love things, they don't complicate the things, So I feel like that is the advice, not to strive too hard, to feel like, you're looking for this sign or this sign to lead you to, your counterpart or whatever type of relationship you're looking for, but know that it is within you, that it's always there. And what you would gain out of it would be, we've got the Five of Pentacles. This card sometimes can talk about feeling left out, feeling separation. I'm getting the sense that, things have been stable for you, and things will be more stable. Your money may have been stagnant. Things in your material realm may have been quite stagnant, but now there's movement again, and you would be learning how to be happy in no matter which situation that you are in. You would be learning to be content in whatever situation you are in. When I look at this picture, I see these characters and they're looking down in a way. Sometimes when I look at this card, I look at it and I look at, like, they seem like they're ashamed or embarrassed or something. But when I see this card today with fresh eyes, I'm noticing it's like they're ignoring their reality. They're ignoring the fact that they may be injured, battered, worse for the wear, and they're not focused on that. They're not worried about that. They're in motion. They are continuing, but not believing the circumstances that they are in, not out of ignorance, but because acting as if and living as if, what they see around them doesn't have to be their reality, and they're purposely choosing not to see that. What they have above them is the stability, the practical, the money, the abundance, the tangible, all the manifestations, So that's what I have for the cardinal. So for the fixed, there's the Eight of Wands, and that's your overall theme. Movement, very, 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 very fast, quick movement, energy, like quick like an arrow, just it whistles in the wind, it's so fast. And what's brought you here is the King of Wands. The King of Wands is the master, I always call it like the master manifester. The King of Wands doesn't need weapons. The King of Wands operates with ideas, passion, motivation. And that is the first manifestation. Without your ideas, inspirations, desires, you wouldn't be able to get a physical manifestation without a beginning. So you have accomplished this. You have attained this, I'm going to say, a level of mastery with your manifestation, and going only in the direction of your desire. And also because of, this mastery, you're learning how to do it quickly. And, you've learned how to send out many, many, many manifestations. Like, more than likely, when you're learning how to co-create, a lot of times you work with one subject, and then when that one subject's manifested, then you move on to others. Some people start with doing a whole bunch at a time. But you're at a level right now where you are manifesting. You are on fire. On absolute fire. And that is your gas. That is, your energy. Your moving at the light speed, and sending out all the desires, and going on impulse, inspired impulse, inspirations, because that, it's sending an arrow out. It's going to plant a seed for you, and that seed will have growth, right? The more you tend to it. What would be good for you to let go of right now? Oh, we've got the King of Swords, so we got two kings. So what's good for you to let go of right now is not to. King of Swords is about externalizing logic and reasoning. So it would be to your advantage to not try to make any logical sense with your mind about any manifestations you go to put out. Your life is your life and it's by your design. It doesn't matter, what your desires are in comparison to others. That's judgment and separation, right? What you truly desire, what makes you truly happy is up to you, right? That makes you feel good and feel great. So it's also, I want to say to, the King of Swords is, they've mastered their emotion and they go off logic and, again, reasoning. So it would be to your advantage, to let your mind be as wild as you want. Do not restrict yourself. Take your restrictions off. Live a little bit, fulfill your desires. Sometimes it's exciting to even have desires, to allow yourself desires, right? Just like a child. They don't restrict themselves. Their minds, the imagination of a child, man, like they're crazy. They can pull ideas out of their head and, like have the most craziest things. And, if you can remember that, and allow yourself the freedom, because you already know how to do your manifesting. You got it mastered. You got it down pat. Now you can do multiple ones at a time. And what you would gain out of it, ooh, right on, Ace of Wands. You're gonna, it's like almost like a perpetual motion of the mastery, knowing the process, living the process, loving the process, putting out multiple wishes, desires, and then out of that, because you're not restricting yourself, you're not tamping down these fires, you're allowing, all reason and logic, throw it out the door, which would get you back to a spot of, again, the ace is a pure essence. It's a pure essence of desire. So it's almost like a cycle, that like you can ride this wave out and keep riding it and riding it. And, the more that you're able to put logic and reason out the door, which can be sometimes challenging for the fixed signs, because, they usually do things in a system, and introducing a new idea or new thought sometimes can be very foreign. But, again, if it's tried and tested and true, you're gonna generate yourself another explosion of energy, another, like this, like a fire, and there's sparks coming off, and you can imagine that every one of those sparks is going to be like, more manifestations or more ideas coming, being inspired. So there's a lot of inspiration. And so the best advice for the fixed signs right now is not to try to logicalize it. Don't try to make any sense out of it. Just enjoy it. So keep moving towards what feels good for you. And don't let anybody tell you different right now. And so for the mutable signs, we have the Five of Swords. So the Five of Swords, fives are all about, shuffling and changing things around, adapting, very, very much so, like a mutable sign, being able to move things around, and make it work and make it continually work for you. So I'm noticing the theme here, the swords, is ideas and reasoning and logic, and seeing what suits you the best. You know, trying things on, trying on ideas. You know, you've tried and executed this plan or this plan, and it just, yeah, you know, so it's all right. It, you know, you'll save that for later. These ones are pretty good. This one you'll test out, right? And I feel like there's a lot of yeah, it's kind of like I want to say it's gonna sound really silly, almost like emotional chi. Like, you know, say if you're moving your space around, like redecorating or rearranging furniture and things, you know, and you put something somewhere and you get a feel for it or not, and you know. But it's almost like this mental moving things around and seeing what suits you the best, seeing what feels comfortable the best, putting away old beliefs, and, you know, maybe not because they don't serve you anymore, but they don't serve you in the moment, right? And, you know, putting them there for later, right? Um, yeah, adaptability and changing, and customizing your thoughts. What's brought you to this point? Oh, look, we got the swords. Oh, that's so funny. Let's see here. I like it because swords are all about the sign of, or the element of air, right? And so again, Gemini right now, we're in the air season. What brought you here is the King of Swords, you know. Again, it's like this character, the energy that they embody is not worrying about what's going on in their emotions, not letting those emotions sway you from your logic. So, you know, because sometimes we end up doing things or making choices based off emotion when there's times where we need to actually make our choices and decisions off logic, you know, because then it's more clear, concise, clean cut, clarity. You know, if you know your end goal, it's easier to make those choices and staying out of your emotions, thinking before you react. You know, there's a lot of that. Yeah, I love this card too. The sword is pointed right up to the sky, past the crown, you know, and it's like when you get inspired thoughts, it comes right from source energy, from no thing into your crown, right? And that's where the power is. Because again, sometimes when we try to logicalize things with our own human brain, well, we've only got a compilation of things we've learned and gathered throughout our lifetime, right? So there's a humility with the King of Swords. It's not about, you know, he knows everything. He's not a know-it-all. Definitely, you know, this to me is like, you know, it's indicating downloads of information, not things that again, that are stored here, things that come in, you know, ideas, thoughts, inspiration, infinite intelligence. You know, that's pretty cool that, you know, you've mastered that, especially as mutable, and we're in the air sign right now, so that's a really good thing. You guys have been working real hard and really stepping into your natural selves. So yes, we have this energy of I just kind of want to say, you know, like, you know, I'm looking at these images, you know, it's this idea, this feeling. To me, it's coming up as now from, you know, being a master of the swords, master of thoughts, and, you know, anything that's relative to you. It's this trying on of, you know, customizing what's working for you, and being able to discern through that. what you would need to let go of. Oh, look, we got some more swords. What you need to let go of is the Eight of Swords. So, you know, that's natural for people to get themselves, you know, even if you've, you know, attained a mastery of sorts, you know, there's always going to be tests. There's always going to be something, you know, that'll, you know, a situation or circumstance in your life that's going to, you know, test you to see, you know, yeah, did you understand that? Did you perceive that? Did you learn your lesson? Did you take something from that? Did you gain knowledge? And this one is often about victimizing or victim mentality, you know, so it's always usually about the perception, you know, the perception of the perceived reality is far worse than, you know, when you're looking at this character, it's not so bad as probably this person's imagining. And again, you know, we see that there's some rope and they've got a blindfold on, so, you know, their senses are blocked, they're bound, you know, and this is actually what's going on right here. This is the actual situation. Yeah, you might find yourself in a tough spot. And, you know, yes, we all get in a tough spot. That's contrast. That's how we are able to put out our desires for, you know, when you want better. You know, if you find yourself in a situation like this, where you feel like you can't do something about something, or you know, you're not seeing everything, or, you know, whatever it may be, whatever situation you might find yourself in, understand that with this card, that all of these swords here are just ideas and imaginations, thought forms. These are not reality right now, right? So again, you know, if you do come up to a situation where, you know, logically, you know, you would be stuck, don't look at your outer reality. Don't think about this. You know, that would minimize the issue, and then it's easier to deal with the task at hand, the situation, the problem, right? And what you would gain from that would be the Three of Pentacles. So that's a lot about keeping that system going, having an established system of doing things. And, you know, that it's also pointing and indicating that, you know, your manifestation system is working. Again, pentacles are things that are here in the three-dimensional that we can sense, we can touch, we can perceive it. And that you would still be on track. You would still be, you know, doing a little bit every day, a little bit every day, a little bit every day, keeping the system going and growing, right? And so that's what you would gain if you let go of the any perceived conflicts, perceived times where you are stuck. I'm also getting from this card right now time loops. You know, so when we are stuck in a situation, I say stuck because the swords are facing into the ground. When you're going over a situation over and over and over and over and over again, you know, trying to reason, trying to logicalize it, trying to, like, I'm sure this person's trying to figure out how to get themselves out of this situation. They can't use their hands. You know, they got to use what resources they have. They're probably really thinking, how can I do this? How can I do this? But if you're stuck thinking about the current situation, how it appears, you know, you would be stuck in that time loop, in that time, those, you know, in those thought forms going around and around and around, keeping you bound like that, right? Rather than having a flow, So this is really good. I'm really happy for all of these readings. You guys are doing wonderful, and I'm really glad this seems like this Gemini season is really, really getting everybody up to speed and where we need to be, and never worry, we're always where we need to be. So I hope you enjoyed.